The Assaulted, Prologue-Columbine, Colorado. It became real on April 21st, 1999. A student or students of a high school in Colorado, whose existence was taking up hours on every major network, whose name and the names of murdered friends and a faculty member would be on the front pages of newspapers all over the world, were already deep into what had become an all-night project to honor that faculty member. A coach, and more importantly, at least in their minds, a computer teacher, a man who had always made them feel as though they were gifted, not different. It began as a tribute to him. As the night progressed and the realization struck that this sadness, this ache, this feeling of nightmarish horror would only subside with time, it went from a tribute page to something far more. It became a place for people to go and talk with those who understood, to listen to those who needed to scream, to rage, to let their deepest emotions go. It was only for survivors, both of physical and mental wounds, and loved ones. And unfortunately, it grew. Those who were invited would receive a card. Initially, the hosts or hosts bought them from a local drugstore. Subsequently, as it grew and donations from those who knew reached the hosts, special cards were printed. However, the invitation was always handwritten. The recipients always meticulously researched, the words inside honest and sincere. Whatever pain the survivor or loved one was feeling was expressed in words that made them know that whoever wrote this note had also been into that very dark place, and that there was help if they wanted it. There would always be a request not to share the contents of the card. There would be assurances that everyone associated with their tragedy would receive the same card, would have the same opportunity to grieve with those who had walked the same path as them. And those who received these cards quickly found out that everyone who had been touched by tragedy had received one of their own. It was hidden well. It always took at least 3 different usernames and just as many passwords to find it. It was moved often and effectively. Due to the circle of suffering becoming wider over time, several computer-savvy people besides the original hosts had a hand in keeping it secure, for they had needed it as well, and it had been there. It remained hidden for over 25 years. The men, women, and children who went there understood its almost religious nature. It was only for those who had suffered a loss due to a mass shooting. Those who had to deal with the indescribable searing in your brain of losing a loved one, or of witnessing people they knew being ripped apart by a bullet, or feeling the fire inside them, not being able to scream or move, knowing there might be another bullet with their name on it. Those who could never move themselves away from the terror, for they had woken up in a hospital and been told that because of some deranged monster, they could no longer walk, or see, or hear, or talk, or hold, or think clearly. This could not be for anybody else but them. It had started as a small site to honor a dead teacher. It had grown to well over 30,000 members, every single member wishing they were not. This huge group always wishing and praying that no one else would join them. Yet, when it happened, and it always happened, the last member, as they were called on site, would always hear from other members about the love, friendship, and openness of this group. When they most needed support, most needed a proverbial shoulder to cry on, someone was always there to help them. When they wanted to rage, curse God, and scream that no one was doing anything, fuck the government, fuck the NRA, that's where they went. People would listen. People would care. People would cry. The site was www.theassaulted.com. It was always referred to by members as the site. Everyone on the site called themselves the Assaulted.